Hola, how you going? Welcome back, viewers, subscribers. Um, Today I was just gonna do a little story time. Yeah, usually I do an update or whatnot for you guys about my life, but I've just been feeling like telling a story about a particular topic as well. And I'll put it in the title. Yeah, it's catfish. If in an update, if anything. Um, Currently just about to go into exam block, about in 2.5 weeks, and I am dreading it. But looking forward to it. It's gonna be really insane. I got 5 courses, and I feel like I'm fucked. But yeah, that should be alright. Um, so back to the health wise, I'm doing okay, man. I think since my last video, I've been doing intermittent fasting or whatever you call it, and I've dropped about 10 kilos. So I would stand up and show you guys my body, but my family think I look sick. Um, but I am shredded. Yeah. I feel good, but I don't think my family are used to seeing me this skinny. So hence why I will not show my body. But I feel and look good. Well, I think so, and some of my friends think I look good. So yeah. Um, okay, back to the theme. Story time. So recently, I've been doing live streams. Like I just go on these apps and I do live streams, and I only did it maybe a handful of times. One thing I noticed about these live streams, like going through these apps, was sometimes I click on the display picture, and when it went and it showed what they were doing, in their live stream, they were usually just talking to the camera or whatnot. Look nothing like their display picture. Now, more often than not, I was very tempted to write, in the chat, like, hey, you don't look like your display picture, but I realized that would have been rude. Um, and it got me thinking about this question: would you classify it as being catfished if the person you were talking to, sent photos of themselves, which was them? You met them in person; they didn't look like their photos. It was still them. They just didn't look like their photos. Would that make them a liar, or would you be shallow if you weren't attracted to them in person? You see? All right. So, with that in mind, come to my story. So, I've been catfished a few times. um, uh, so, yeah, you just if you've been single for a few years and you use dating apps, you're bound to be catfished or feel like you've been catfished. Now I feel like I've been catfished. Other people in my situation would beg to differ because they would have been like, hey, it was them in the profile picture. So for my subscribers that don't know me, I used to live down south side. So yeah, to the story, I used to live down south side of Brisbane, so near Callanvale. Now, in Callanvale, you have to understand that where it's located in Brisbane, it's quite a diverse neighborhood. So you got Sunnybank Hills, Browns Plains, you got Kingston, Underwood. Logan is not a distant cousin away. Algesta, Cooper's Plains. So you're really you're in the hub of uh, you know a diverse area. And so I was on. So when I was living out there, I used to use some dating apps, Bumble and Tinder. And so with Bumble and Tinder, they were good, but the only problem with that and living out there was it was very difficult to organize. Like logistics wise, it was difficult to I don't know organize. A meetup. And if you, even if you did take him to a date or whatnot, you'd have to be all the way in the city, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, well, we're going back to your place or mine. It's an hour to go back to mine. Put it together. What are we doing? What are we doing? So tough times came about, and I had to think of something different. So I started looking at different apps, different dating apps. So I came across these two apps. They're called Meet Me and Scout. Now, for the people, and I usually try and describe it like this to um, anyone I'm telling this story to. So Meet Me and Scout is like the dirty cousin of Tinder, you know? So that already puts a descriptive. It's like the dirty cousin of Tinder and Bumble. And if I was to, try and explain why people use this app, like when you're chatting with them, you figure it out quite quickly. Well, I figured it out quite quickly, especially the women that I was talking to. Now, if you are a girl and you're using so if you are a girl and you're using Tinder and Bumble, the percentage or the rate that you will get a match is quite high. I don't know. I couldn't put a number to it, like some sort of calculation, but it's very high. Every third guy you would swipe right, and that's not to say that, you know, whatever. It's just that the guys that are on that app swipe right to everything in the hope that they will match with someone. So if you are a girl and you use Tinder or Bumble, if you swipe right on someone, the chances of you'll get a match are significantly high. So for Meet Me and Scout, for the girls that go into that app, they don't get matches on Tinder. Yeah. So you know, you could see why they go into this app. And that, if that says anything about the reason why I went on that app, if it puts into any, context, I was looking for something, I was looking for anything at that stage. So the funny thing about these apps as well is, because they didn't get any matches on Tinder or Bumble, they came into this app and the bottom of the barrel guys there will message them and they get flooded with messages and they get an attitude and they get they get their egos get boosted up and it's good for them. All the power to them, but that's the type of women that use that app. Okay, so I think that puts everything in perspective with you know the where I was, okay, and the apps that I was using for the foundation of the story. So downloaded the app, got to talking to a few people. Now you have to also, so when I first downloaded the app, I started talking to a few people. This is the first app that girls message me first. Okay, they messaged me first, and I was like, oh wow, this is a very interesting app. Demographic, I set it to 18. Like from your settings, you can set the people who you want to talk to and where they are around Brisbane. So automatically, it's listed to the neighboring. It links up to your location, links you up to people around you, surrounding neighborhoods. Demographic, what 18 to whatever. I didn't put a gauge on it. First time in my life, women were messaging me first, and I was like, holy shit. I was quite surprised. I was taken back by it. I felt like, it started making me feel good, and so I got to talking to a few people, and um, like yeah, I realized as well that I was in the hub of it. I had Kingston around me. I had Underwood, connected me up to Ipswich, Red Bank Plains, Algesta. So there's a lot of people around me and very very close by, and they were messaging me, and I was like, this is exactly where I need to be at that time. That's what I wanted. I just wanted to meet women close to me, logistics wise, easily accessible. So got to talking to a few people. Started talking to this one lady on an app. She just lived um, just down in Browns Plains, just down in Browns Plains, which is literally 2 minute, 3 minute drive. Message her. We talked for maybe a day or two. I'm thinking, yeah, about a day or two. It was late in the year, November, December, one of those hot nights. And look, from the things like from her photos again, she looked like she was at an island, a woman. She was a little curvy. I was just like, hey, I'm into curvy women, so I didn't feel, I felt quite indifferent about her. Her looks at that time, I was just like, oh yeah, whatever. She was like, I drive, I can come by. I was like, yeah, swing by. And so, look, I think my cousins are gonna, they already know anyway. But I used to house sit, so I used to live at the bottom of this, like this big house, this house, and very easy access to my room was just because from the side alley. So she was just like, oh, I can be there in like 10, 15. And I was just like, all right, sweet, I'll see you when I see you. Pulls up, all right, and she says, oh, I'm here. So I get out of my room and walk down the alley, and in front of my house there's a light, right? There's a light that casts a shadow over the driveway. And as I was coming around the corner, just usually I just walk out just with confidence and I just walk straight. But just out of just I just kind of peeked around the corner and I looked on the ground just to see if I could maybe see if she was standing on which side of the gate she was standing on. And I looked on the ground and I could see the shadow that the her body figure casted all over the thing. And as soon as I don't want to say anything. As soon as I saw it though, I knew I was in trouble. Yeah. All right, look, I knew I was in trouble because I just, you know how you can just tell, and I started thinking some things to my head. I was like, oh fuck, I've done it now. And I walked over, and as I walked to the gate, and I could just see like there's a little our mailbox is in the way, kind of, and I could just see just outside of her, and in the dark figure, I could see the outline. You can see the outlining of it from her body against the car. My car, I could just see it, and I knew, I just knew that there she just wasn't. She just looked a lot bigger in person. So I go and I open it. As a gentleman, I just said hey, and I saw her, and I didn't think anything of it. She was a lot bigger than her photos had portrayed her to be, and I mean a lot bigger. So I opened the door, and before I really could say anything, she kind of just walked in, and she started saying, we started talking, and I walked her to her room, and so as we're walking back down the alleyway, I saw like I just remember just walking behind her, and like with Islander women, they got thick skin, very very thick skin, and I saw it, and as she was walking, and I was just like, fuck me, this girl got me good. Walked into the room. I was so taken back with what I was seeing in the light of my room. Like as she sat on my bed, and I was like, I just did it. I just so we didn't kiss or anything. I just remember, just taking off my pants and whatever. We just did what we had to do. And but my head was so not there. I was still very like my I was still wanted. I was quite scared actually because I was just like I think this girl lied to me. I don't think she was the girl in the photos. We get to doing it for maybe a minute or so, but I could feel myself like I wasn't going to you know I'm sorry for who's watching, but I wasn't going to finish. All right, so then I maybe a minute in, I just knew that it wasn't going to work out for me. Like I'm not gonna this she's gonna think I'm going soft on her. So I just pulled out and I said, hey, I think my cousin's calling me. I have to go. We weren't making any noise, but I said, "Hey, shush, I think we were loud. Don't talk to me. I have to go talk to my cousin right now because I think he's calling me." And she was just like, "Oh, okay." And then so I just quickly ran out, went upstairs, and I just told my cousin, I was like, "Look, man, I've made the mistake. I'm being catfished." I don't think he remembers this, but I don't think I actually told him that. Actually, I think I just went up and said, "Hey, look, I need to make an excuse to get this girl out of my room because I really fucked up." I go back downstairs, 5 minutes, walk in the room. I was just like, "Hey, look, my cousin, my cousin says we're being too loud. He feels disrespected in his house, and he thinks that he feels that you need to leave." And I came in and I need to tell you, you have to go right now. I can't do this. And she was just like, "What do you mean? We weren't making noise. I wasn't being loud at all." I said, "No, no, no. You don't understand. It's a big house. It echoes. You have to go right now. You have to leave." And she was just like, "Oh, okay." And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. I wish I wish, but you have to go." She got dressed, and I remember just thinking, I have to ask something about this. I feel like I got catfished. So I was just like, "Hey, look, what happened to those photos? Like in the photos, you don't look like the photos at all." And then she was just like, um, "Oh yeah, those photos were taken 18 months ago." And I was like, "What? Are you fucking kidding me?" When he said that, I was like, "Oh, what?" And she was like, "Yeah, I went through something and I've put on some weight." I was like, "You, yeah." I was, "Yeah, you put on a bit of weight, yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, I put on maybe 30, 20, 30 kilos." And I was just like, "Fuck, man." So she got to talking about her, what happened and what we talked for a bit, and then yeah, I just said, you know, thanks for telling me that. But yeah, yeah, I couldn't say anything else. I was because after hearing the story, I was a bit like, "Oh, okay, yeah, fair." So then yeah, she didn't even get dressed. She wore just wore a dress. I just remember she wasn't even naked. And then yeah, I walked her out, and yeah, like we talked for a little bit after that, just here and there. But yeah, that's what happened. That's one of my first catfish stories. And yeah, she was. I'll never forget that because it was the first. Like usually, look, I'll say it. I can just go when I need to. If I need to do it, I need to do it. I don't really care so much. But that was the first time I really felt like someone lied to me. So again, so yeah, that's my first catfish story. Um, and coming back to that question I asked earlier, do you feel like what would you classify as being catfished? Like if you're talking to someone and they look like their photos, so you're talking to them, they send you photos, but when you meet up with them, they don't look like their photos at all. In fact, they look, so different that you're not attracted to them. Does it make you shallow, or because obviously that you guys must have had some sort of rapport if you guys wanted to meet up in person, if you wanted to meet up, or does it make them a liar? Yeah. Yeah, that's my story. It's going up to about 20 minutes. Yeah, that wasn't that short, but yeah, I mean, if you guys feel free to leave a comment or maybe you got catfished. I got a few more. I might release it slowly. I gotta do my crazy Tinder story as well, but yeah, that's my catfish story. Anyways, deuces, y'all. I hope you enjoyed it, huh?